Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Mythbusting. No wait, it's a snapshot video, and there's a very good reason that we're here. Something has changed with splash potions. And I remember testing this very mechanic 12 years ago. Goodness me. I guess we will now recreate the test of that episode to see what has changed in this latest snapshot, which is 25W18A. So a splash potion has a duration. This one is 8 minutes. And to get the full 8 minutes, you would need the splash potion to hit the hitbox of the entity that it's applied to. Here you can see we've got the full 8 minutes. Now, when you throw a potion directly at your feet, it doesn't actually hit your hitbox. So let's go ahead and throw it, and you'll see that we get the full 8 minutes. And that is what has changed. The amount of duration will now be calculated on the distance from the entity itself. If I stand here, I can go ahead and clear the effect. And when I throw a potion and press E, we can then see how much of that effect we get. So it was thrown over there, and yet we got 2 minutes of it. So I'm standing in the very center of this block. What I'm going to do next is aim at the very center of the next block, throw it and press E, and you can see we've lost 30 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and clear the effect from me. Aim at the next one, which is 2 blocks away, repeat the process, and you see we got 5 minutes 30. And as we go further out, that number is going to reduce each time. Let's do that again. We're down to 2 minutes 40. And the next one is 1 minute 50. All the way over there is 1 minute 25. It is a crude test based on the throwing of a potion. These blocks are just a distance for me to aim at. So I did some more tests, and it's about 5.5 blocks across is the furthest the potion can be away from the player, and then it will give them 50 seconds at the least of the effect. And the amount that you get is proportional, so if I throw that just about as far away as it can go, you can see speed, which has 3 minutes, gets a significant amount less. This is how it was described on the website, and that's why I decided to come into the myth-busting world and just test it out for myself and show you it in action. It also says if entities are grouped together, they will receive the same effect strength. I'm assuming that means entities that are riding one another. But hey, grouped could possibly mean something else. All right, we're going to head back to the website again for this week's snapshot, starting with the opening article, which mentions updating unifonts and also supporting private use areas, which will allow creators to add scripts like Tengwa. This is actually a Tolkien script from the author of Lord of the Rings. This stuff might be similar to like the writing that you see on the ring in the movie. It's essentially a fictional written language. And with Unicode, you could bring these into the game. However, my attempts have failed to do so. And I believe this is because it's now supported through something like a resource pack. At least that's what I think they mean when they say creators will now be able to use scripts, as in resource pack creators. Let us now turn our attention to the far more Minecrafty elements of changes in this snapshot, starting with leads, which have recently been buffed. The community has responded very well to these changes, and now it comes with a recipe change as well. This reminds me of the lodestone change because this used to require slime balls, and now they've replaced the slime balls with string. So you just need 5 pieces of string to get 2 leads. And I think this makes a lot of sense as well. Like, what does this slime ball have to do with the lead? Is it like a glue? I think string makes a lot more sense in this crafting bench and makes the feature more accessible too. Now, when you leash up a mob, it will add some MBT data, which I think has been added to stop these mobs from roaming so much. So if we go and attach the leash like this to the post, then we use the data get command on this entity, we will see that it now has this home position tag that's been added. This comes along with another one known as home radius, and these can be applied to all mobs in the game. However, some mobs will actually ignore this tag and not make use of it, and I think only the Happy Ghast has it by default. As it says here, interacting with leashes or riding may change the home position of the mob. So let's go ahead and unleash this mob. We will get its entity data again, and now that tag has been removed. Its purpose is to set a home position and then limit their pathfinding to staying within the indicated area. So I think this mostly serves as an optimization for leashed mobs, but it could also be taken advantage of by map makers due to its data-driven nature. Next, we head to the Nether Dimension, home of the Piglins, who you can barter with by giving them pieces of gold. And I've tried my luck, but it seems that I didn't get what I was looking for. You might have guessed it, but what I was looking for was the dried ghast. You can now get one of these in a barter with a piglin. And if we refer to Minecraft.wiki, we can see the odds of each of the different items that you can get from each trade. Well, I had a look at the loot table and it's valued the same as string. So you'll have a similar % chance of getting it as you do string. And with some very rough math, that's about a 1 in 25 chance of getting one of these from a Piglin Barter. And just to make it clear, you'll only get one of these in a barter at a time. Also related to the dried ghast and getting your hands on one, there is a new recipe. The bone block has been replaced with soul sand. This probably makes it ever so slightly easier to get your hands on. Didn't seem like a necessary change to me, but maybe it makes more sense. I guess it raises the question we've all been wondering for years. Are ghasts bony? Do they have bones inside that beautiful balloon structure of theirs? Alright, I know this isn't Snapshot news, but discuss it down below. Do ghasts have bones? And while you're down there, if you subscribe to the channel, then you can catch future update videos like this one. Thanks for considering. Let's crack on with the video. Now we turn our attention to the Happy Ghast, which was added to the list of followable friendly mobs. And now it all clicks together. I understand why we saw changes to the splash potion in the very beginning of this video. Or at the very least, I suspect that the changes are somehow related to one another. Because we have previously learned that Happy Ghasts were immune to splash potions. But now you can see this poison one has caused the poor guy to take some damage. And me being me, you know what's next. We're going to use poison, regeneration, and infesting. Which should drop silverfish from the skies. It's kind of hard to see when you're standing on top of it. But yeah, when it takes damage, it can now drop a silverfish because it's infested. Although it doesn't seem to do it very often, which is kind of disappointing. And from what I can tell, they are still immune from the speed effect. And now I'm just chilling out here to see if the water breathing effect works, you know? I want underwater Happy Ghasts. Alright, this guy's definitely had long enough to drown, so this clearly works. Yeah, this previous immunity to potion effects was reported as a bug, so now they can be affected by them. Also down here in the bugs, loot table files accept invalid JSON. This seems to be related to a technical change note that all JSON files are now passed in strict modes, which means you can't have any room for error. This is quite possibly very important for all the map makers and resource pack tinkerers out there, so just letting you know. I also have some interesting Waypoint news for you. It's not really related to these changes here in the changelog though. This is just letting us know that the textures for the up and down arrows have changed due to some changes with animation. What I do have is this message from Xalafan, who explained that what we saw in last week's snapshot was actually some test code left over that made it into the snapshot. And it revolves around using their username. So I was expecting to see the bow tie removed from this snapshot, but it seems like they've just added another file related to it, perhaps confirming it's going to stay in. So let us run that command once again, and we get the armor stand. It's got a waypoint, but it doesn't use the bow tie. So I was going to tell you this bow tie thing was just a leftover from testing that wasn't supposed to be in the snapshot. And maybe that's its fate, but as you saw this week, there was more data added into the game related to the bow tie. So we might see some use out of it yet. Alright, and that brings me to the end of this video. It was definitely a smaller one with some very smart changes included. Let me know what you thought of it with a comment down below, leave a like to support the video, and I'll see you next week with another Snapshot video. Bye bye.